So today I want to talk about Seed. That's basically about it. So Seed is a pretty solid character. She is pretty easy to play in my opinion. When I play her, I kind of just play her as a sub DPS. If she doesn't have any energy up, I'll basically just basic attack until the 4th hit, and then I'll just swap out to whoever. And if she does have her energy up, I'll basically just hold her X special and then swap to whoever. I think she's a pretty solid character. Her core kit, she basically buffs an attacker in your party, and the attacker also buffs Seed as well, providing attack and crit damage to both Seed and the attacker who's in the party. So Seed can work with any attacker, and the 3rd slot can just be whoever, whether it's a stunner or a support. It doesn't really matter. Overall, her value isn't really that high, but if you are a new player that just started like during this patch, I do think Seed is worth pulling for just because she is a DPS. She can work really well with free-to-play characters like Billy or Corin, 2 characters that you get for free. So if you do want to buff those characters a little bit more, I do think Seed will be worth picking up, in my honest opinion. I do think Seed is stronger than Sandby. However, my Sandby doesn't have her signature weapon while my Seed does. So that probably has some thing to do with it. Although Seed and Sandby can work pretty well together. Also, the devs have all stated that Sandby is getting a buff soon, so once Sandby gets her buff, she could be just as strong as Seed, maybe stronger with Seed in the party. Seed can work with any attacker in the game so far. I think the only attacking character that might have an issue with Seed is Hugo, since I think Hugo requires the enemy to be stunned as quickly and long as possible, and having 2 stunners with Hugo will help with that. So I don't think Seed can work with Hugo that well. I might be entirely wrong. Now, whether Seed will have future value or not, will only time can tell about that, because nobody is really going to know whether Seed is going to have high future value or not. Zenless Zone Zero especially does have a tendency to surprise the player base, like they just did with Lucia and Yidhari. Nobody expected those 2 because we didn't see them in the trailer of 2.0. So literally anything could happen from here on out. Next patch, or the patch after Lucia and Yidhari, could be entirely different characters. Not to mention future attackers may or may not synergize with Seed. It might be just like another Hugo situation in which they might require another party class like Anomaly or supports, or they could just not release attackers for a very long time and start releasing more stunners and defenders. I think they should start releasing more defenders, because I think maybe they could probably do something with defenders. Anyways, whether Seed has future value or not, it's really up to the future to decide whether Seed will have value in the future. Or I guess the devs themselves would have to, say something about it. One complaint I heard before Seed's release is that, her robot is not playable, or they prefer a playable robot. I think the robot that shows up in Seed's gameplay, Seed Senior, I think he shows up pretty often enough. It definitely feels like he's there. I think her gameplay is a pretty good mix between Seed herself and Seed Senior. So I think that was kind of aged like fine wine. I think Seed Senior, he shows up pretty quickly and often enough that you'll, hear his loud fucking voice. Unlike Gooba from like Genshin Impact, right? He kind of just shows up, doesn't really say anything or have any weird lines. He just shows up and spits fire and leaves. But Seed Senior interacts with Seed, so it works. It just works. We are also starting to see attacking class characters getting on the rise with the new boss. I forgot her name, but you know who I'm talking about, right? Like the new Booba Watermelon Lady with the miasma milkers, right? I think she basically shills attacking characters, so Seed can counter that boss pretty well. But the next patch is going to have a rupture character, so next patch will probably shill ruptures, while this patch right now is shilling attackers. I think in ZZZ you're going to need at least 2 types of DPSs. We have at least 3, right? We got anomaly type DPSs, we also have the attacker type DPSs, and we have the rupture type DPSs. I think as long as you have at least 2 out of the 3, I think you should relatively be fine. Overall, I think Seed is a pretty solid character. If you are a new player into the game, I do think she is worth picking up, but just don't expect any Miyabi or Jué levels of DPS. But Seed overall, pretty solid. I like the character. I also think she's really cute. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye bye now. Come again soon.